Can you tell me your name and the organization that you represent?
Hi, yes. Thanks for this opportunity to share with you. My name is Debbie Ann Gordon, and I represent Food for the Poor. I'm a board member of Food for the Poor, Jamaica.
And how long you've been a member sit on the board for Food for the Poor Jamaica?
Over approximately 15 years or more.
Okay. And the mission of Food for the Poor, just explain for those who may not know what the mission is.
Well, our mission is simple: to improve the lives of the indigent, to serve the less fortunate in Jamaica, and to meet their every need, whatever it may be, in food, clothing, housing. We construct a number of houses, hundreds of houses every year, through the kind donations of persons locally and internationally. And
Oh,
we've developed a model that constructs these houses in an efficient and scalable manner, and at a cost that allows us to, to construct quite a number each year.
mm. And having been to some of the affected areas, I know you've been to Westmoreland. Talk to us about, from your vantage point, what you have seen and the devastation and the. Just talk to us about, your observations so far.
Well, it's an indescribable thing that has happened to us. What you see is trauma. You see a lot of frightened faces. You see a lot of insecure faces, a lot of desperate people, a lot of hungry people, a lot of thirsty people, a lot of distressed men and women and children who are concerned about where they're going to be sleeping and what will tomorrow bring.
Mm-hmm.
And because of, for whatever reason, we've had delays in reaching these persons who have been so severely affected, and so the communication has not yet really started in giving people an understanding as to what the plans are, what will happen. People are still being sheltered in schools. People are still walking daily for miles to get water and to shower, to bathe, walking to rivers, nearby rivers, and so on, where those exist, or going to, a family member to share with, or a community member to share water supplies with. And I see in their faces the repeated question being, when will help come?
Mm-hmm.
When will this change? How will we change it? Because there's so much, everything around is in chaos. Everything is destroyed, and it just looks like, devastation and um, decimation. So it's so overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
that you're not sure how and if we can recover from this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, just by virtue of the scale of it. So the first thing is, for those of us who can help or feel strong enough to extend hope or love or something tangible, um, we have to know that there is hope. We have to know that, something must happen, something, and that change and that help must come from, at least from among us,
Mm-hmm.
from, fellow Westmalites, overseas, the diaspora, persons like yourself who can influence on a larger scale. That change must come from us, and that help must come from us.
Okay. And in terms of underground relief efforts that Food for the Poor has embarked on, talk to us. I know you were in the Deans Valley area and Waterworks last weekend. Talk to us a bit about that. And you're on your way now to Westmoreland. I'm told that you're gonna be in George's Plain, in Frome, in Grangeville. And when people hear about Grangeville, we just have to think back to the World Championship where one of our residents from Grangeville, one of the Tina twins, and brought glory to Jamaica. And to Grain Chill. So talk to us about the efforts last week that your Food for the Poor undertook and the plans for this today and going forward.
Well, we came to recognize the day following the hurricane, which is when I set out for Westmoreland because we lost connectivity, so I couldn't hear from my mom. So I didn't know my family in Westmoreland, so I didn't know what was happening. So I just decided to take the road, and that was Wednesday, the day following. And when I got there and saw the horrific events that had unfolded and the impact of it and all of the devastation, I returned to Kingston on Thursday and spoke with the chairman of Food for the Poor and Andrew Mahfood. And William Mahfood, the Mahfoods, are the founders of Food for the Poor. And I spoke with, persons like Jean Laurie Chin, who is also a board member. And they rapidly responded. I explained to them the devastation. Of course, nobody could really understand what I'm saying, and it perhaps sounded like fantasy. But whatever it was, they said just fine. We will get onto it, and So I had the full support of Food for the Poor, and we got the resources together, and we headed out to Westmoreland. Father Perrin, I called him. Luckily, he has Starlink, so I was able to communicate with him, and he said, just get the goods down here, and then we'll figure it out from there. So the logistics were not a problem. And of course, being a child of the soil, there was no concern for me that, of safety or anything like that. I just knew that people needed help, and I needed to go back and give help. And that's what we did. And we got on the ground, and we used the Deans Valley playfield because it was an open and large site, and it went very well. We didn't have enough supplies. As much as we took, we didn't have enough, and that was disappointing for me because people who didn't get tarpaulins, for example, were angry. They were angry at me, and they made me know that I came here with tarpaulins and didn't give them any, and I gave others, and some who didn't get some of the food, they got not enough, not enough food for like their baby, or those who wanted just some protein, and they got a bag with perhaps just starch. Were very dissatisfied, and you could see that the anger was not just unfounded; it was just raw desperation. Days of destitute. Of a destitute situation. I'm just feeling destitute. So we when we were coming down, we stopped in White House. That was shocking, just to see how destroyed White House is, and people were on the road just holding up their hands and appealing for water. So we stopped and offloaded some of the goods there. Then we went to Deans Valley. Then we went to Carwinner. And did some distribution there, Petersfield, and we left some supplies for Fort William and some other areas. Today is actually not Food for the Poor. Today is Tire Warehouse that's doing this distribution, and I've joined up with them, and they've made over 1,000 food packages. Yesterday they distributed over 500 freshly made breads all over Westmoreland, and through the help of the police who drove around and distributed and did videos so we could see. And today they do another 600 freshly baked breads, and they deliver those care packages, and just privileged to be part of that distribution. Food for the Poor goes back in Food for the Poor goes back in a few days and will continue. They're bagging thousands of bags every day, but they're serving the entire island. But I'm happy we're able to get out to Westmoreland, because the truth is we are so far from the center of decision making. We were cut off entirely to date, many persons in